We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, you know him, you love him. He's got more belts than anyone ever needs in life. He is the undisputed scholar himself, Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how is your evening going, sir?
What kind of belts are you talking about? I'm just
Yes,
curious with that. Okay.
you know what
All
I'm
that
talking about.
in that case, then yes, I have plenty of belts. I have plenty of belts under my belt. Uh, I'm just excited for this week because finally it's taking a couple weeks, but the first backstage news tonight is going to be the announcement who is the 2021 Scholar of the Year. Better late than never. Finally found time to work on that. So it's finally here. And of course,
Yes.
the one show where the two people have been basically asking, when's the result coming out? When's the result coming out? Are not on the show this week.
Oh, I'm sure everyone will be back in prime shape by next week, just in time for the Royal Rumble. But until then, we have to take care of business over here, just the two of us, in a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed, we shall go ahead and peek behind that curtain, singing just the two of us in this week's edition of Backstage News. News.
I thought I was kicking it off, man.
Oh no, Brian's my tag team partner. I'm kicking. If when he's not here, I have to kick it off. We dominate this show.
Speaking of dominating shows, let's just kick right into it. You've been building it up enough. What are your results for Scholar of the Year for the year 2021?
The results, I am getting them up right now. All right, we'll start between the four of us. We'll start at the bottom with you, fool, with 96 points.
Of course. I'm going to take a swig.
Sure, Jeff, drink up. Next up, in third, we got Scholar Charlie with 115 points. In second place is yours truly with 120 points.
Really?
So number one, the 2021 Scholar of the Year is Scholar Brian with 123 points.
I'll be honest, I was expecting this whole bit to just be another ego stroke on your part, but I stand corrected. Congratulations to Scholar Brian.
And it's like I told him, it's either me or him. We just trade off Scholar of the Year when we want to, because it's just always between me and him. So he's like, hey, you want to get it this year? Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay, you can go ahead and have it. Just continue to show how much we know what we're talking about when it comes to these predictions. And that's why we just dominate Scholars of Wrestling.
Okay, sure. But you know what? 2022 is a whole new year. There's 3 twos in the title. Who knows what can happen this year? And I'm looking forward to yet another opportunity to win more belts, win more points. It's going to be one hell of a year.
Come on, Jeff. I'm waiting for you to climb the top of that mountain to join me as Undisputed Scholar. Because let's see, you have the party belt to win. You've won a Rumble game. You won the championship. You need to win Scholar in the Bank, Party Championship, and Scholar of the Year. You can do it.
Every day is full of possibility, and I like it that way. But speaking of possibilities and all these different ways to improve ourselves, no doubt the biggest topic of this week in wrestling was all about Jon Moxley. His recent return to the ring just tonight, as a matter of fact. We're recording this on Friday, as per usual. And he just had his first match back on AEW Rampage. And apparently some people thought his return speech on Dynamite was a little lacking. Apparently,
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. But just for the record, on the Busted Open radio show, Bully Ray felt as much as he was glad to see Jon Moxley back, he made a comment about Jon Moxley could have could have used could have given an apology to some of the fans for not showing up to some of the shows. And apparently everyone hated that take. I mean, just hey, there's been a joke going around about Bully Ray liking Heat. Well, he got it after this, I'd say. Tarek, take us through what you thought about his comments and like what's going on here.
Really, all I can really say is I don't agree with what he says. I think Mick Foley posted it today, said it best. Moxley does not need to apologize about anything. After what he's been through, we completely understand why he couldn't do, like why he had to not do events and just basically take some time off to, get healthy. So when it comes to what he said, all I can really say is I don't agree with it at all. I'm not saying like, oh, screw his opinion because hell, his opinion means more worth than mine does. But I just don't agree with it. And it's just nice to see Moxley in such better shape. I've been seeing pictures of when he left to when he came back, and it is just night and day. Just seeing where he was and where he is now. And it makes me so happy to see he's in a better place. He looks very healthy. And now after his match with Ethan Page, we're getting Bryan Danielson versus Moxley feud coming.
Oh,
and all
yes.
all I can say is to go with our food analogies. That is a nice 5-star meal that is on the horizon. And it just makes me look back on what Brian said on the last episode, how he talked about how Rampage was nothing more than just enhancement matches. Just from what I seen tonight, no, absolutely not. Rampage means a lot bigger deal than what he was saying last show.
Yeah, I can safely say that there's nothing enhancement talent about
Again, that's
Rampage.
dark.
I've been okay, dark. Okay, I thought you were talking about Rampage.
No, Brian was talking about Rampage on the last show. And I'm just basically just pointing it out that I couldn't disagree with him more. Just looking at this at tonight's show. Well, right now I turned off the TV so we can record tonight. No, that's something I normally don't do. I just have it play on mute.
Yeah, right now I've got live in the background right now. Right now we're looking at Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill. So
well, yeah, that's happening, but I guess that's one reason why I'm not really focusing. But still, it's a wrestling show. We're on a wrestling talk show. I think I should have it on. There we go.
Well, hey, considering I like these two ladies, hey, I'm not going to complain.
I like the ladies as well. Oh, and it's over. All right, let's watch the match. It's over. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, never mind. The match is just starting. I actually thought the match was over and she's celebrating with the belt. I'm like, oh, well, that was anticlimactic on my end, but no, it's starting.
Nah, she's just being all swaggy or whatever. You know how.
But yeah, the whole point I was saying, I view Dark as what Brian was explaining Rampage was last episode. Was that? I don't think we had an episode last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Here's my thought, and this just occurred to me while we were talking, and I'd like to get your take on this. I'm going to say Bully Ray is the Jim Cornette of the Attitude Era. What do you make of that statement?
By going on his shows, making these like wild comments on his
having
his podcasting,
a base of knowledge and history and experience, but oftentimes his opinion is limited to a very specific circle of time and culture.
Basically, he's out of his element.
Yes, there are a lot of times where his logic and knowledge of history and what has worked in the past is sound, but their biggest shortcoming, I guess, does seem to be the lack of connection with where the audience's current mindset is currently. Does that make sense?
I do understand. I'm sorry. I'm now just looking
Flex
at
off between Jade Cargill and John Silver over here, which is
yeah.
fantastic.
I'm like that's a moment. Okay, but okay, sorry, getting distracted.
Hey, good wrestling. Who knew?
Yeah, good wrestling. Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing I turned the TV back on.
Well,
Okay,
if I can elaborate for 1 minute, I feel like there was some logic to what Bully Ray was saying, to be fair, because normally there is this, I'm sure you've seen it too, where not just with wrestling, but with other TV shows too, there's this tendency for some people on camera, wrestlers, actors, whatever have you, to be sort of apologetic towards, or rather gracious towards the fan base, sort of acknowledging that, your time is valuable. I appreciate you spending your hard-earned money and whatever. I can sort of see what he's going for there in that sense. But this is a big but. I feel like the biggest problem here was Bully Ray's misjudgment about how the fan base truly feels, and especially how they feel about Jon Moxley. Where
and just looking at
with the exception of that one loudmouth guy, which
that was the only real negative thing. That was the only real negative thing that I actually had to say about that whole segment. I loved his promo because it hit right at home, just on what was discussed, like what he just pretty much like analogies of what he had to go through, and just thinking it's like, oh, that it's now, it'll happen again at some point. Because we always have those. Just that's how life is sometimes. And as he put it, like the demons just come in different forms. So at that point, like and all I can really say is just he doesn't need to apologize because the fan base has their voices, and their voices have let out through social media, just giving their all over support on hoping Moxley gets better, gets healthy, and gets happy. Oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So all it really says is everything that he needed to say coming back, he said it in his promo. And he kept in his character again, going that F off to that obnoxious son of a bitch fan. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I have no problems with what he said, because he doesn't need to say anything to the fans that isn't already felt with all the overflowing support that he's gotten through the whole thing.
Speaking of, you mentioned that the fans have their voice, are able to say what they need to on their own. Outside of that one obnoxious fan, did you notice what seemed like everyone else in the crowd was saying at that time?
No.
Exactly. They did not say silent. A word.
Because it was silent. They were listening to what he was saying.
Moxley's every single word. They had a level of reverence I haven't heard since CM Punk redebuted. And even then, I think it was probably even quieter. You could hear
it was quieter. It was it was very quiet. And yeah, that's just more fan appreciation, because yeah, like you said, they're hanging on everything he's saying. And we should.
Exactly. And that speaks way more volumes than any number of spoken words ever could. So
exactly.
There's there's love, there's enthusiasm, but then there's just that level of reverence that I think on this particular occasion, Bully Ray just happened to miss out on. So hopefully he uses this as a learning experience.
I will say it definitely is this whole thing, what he said, is basically a product of his time. Because maybe there was a point where, because they would go through like Attitude Era and so much extreme lengths, of the past, I'm sure they had to do something that would require him to had to apologize to the crowd. I'm pretty sure that there have been at least WWE shows where some things go a little controversial and the wrestler had to apologize.
Raven did it in ECW. When he crucified the Sandman.
Yep.
And not to mention that everyone, when it comes to like addiction and mental health issues, we lost, I know you don't care for him, but we lost New Jack, we lost Balls Mahoney, we lost Mike Awesome, and those are just the first three that come to mind. I'm sure that there's lots of other ones we lost from those kinds of issues that it seemed like Bully Ray was making light of. Well, that's why people take it so seriously, because so many people we give a damn about who are fans of that we care for, guess what? There's a reason then they're not here right now. As for that exact kind of nonsense. So Bully, on the rare occasion I think you're actually gonna run into this video on YouTube or wherever else, I hope you take this opportunity to learn and reconsider your position on this.
Agreed. And I'm sure, and there's a lot of the internet wrestling community, including wrestlers, who feel the same way.
Bingo. Now, in the world of going from disappointing to just straight up bizarre, this Mustafa Ali situation where apparently he wanted to ask for his release, and for some reason
he flat out asked. He went onto his Twitter and just flat out, it's like, okay, I am requesting to be released. He made it public. And I think that's a very ballsy move on his point.
It is, but it didn't, from what it looks like they're not giving it to him for some reason. Like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in a situation like this, whenever someone requests a release, I just sort of get the impression that it's almost assumed that it's going to be granted. But
in
I can't remember
cases, it kind of has been.
Yeah, I can't remember a single moment where a release has not been granted. So if this is true, I have to just wonder, like, okay, they're not doing anything with him. They're not going to release him.
There's apparently
what the heck is going to happen next?
There's apparently a bad beef between him and Vince that led into an argument backstage.
You know, like so much about this just strikes me as so bizarre. Like, they're obviously releasing people left and right. Why hang on to Mustafa Ali? What's the message here?
It looks like it's actually kind of funny because it seems like I see this kind of situation with two superstars, actually, Ali and Finn Balor. Just with the whole reports in of just how Vince has been viewing Finn Balor, and that even though he's looking at him at such low regards, unfortunately, which is just absolutely mind-boggling, insane to me. But that's just a long line of things of Vince McMahon that just continue to be like, I just continue to look at it. It's like, yep, this is why I gave up on this old man years ago.
And there it is. It doesn't seem to follow any sort of legitimate logical point here. It's just the passing fancy and whims of an old man past his prime.
If anything, I just think they're gonna save. I think they're going to release him, just not at the point of his request. Most people are thinking that they're just gonna let him be released around like after WrestleMania when they do the what's the word? The routine backstage cleaning of releasing superstars. But it may be different on these times, considering, you know, WWE's been firing people left and right for the past couple of years, like for no reason other than budget cuts.
So-called anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this whole thing just strikes me as so bizarre.
At this point, it's just, I just look at these superstars that they're keeping that could just flourish somewhere else. And WWE knows that they can flourish somewhere else, but they're not doing anything about it. They're not letting them flourish on their program, and they're refusing to let them flourish on other programs and other businesses, other promotions. I look at it and I just go, why? Why do you have to be doing this? Let these independent contractors go wherever they want to go.
Yeah, something is drastically amiss here. And speaking of amiss, there's apparently a report or a claim from a website called WrestleVotes that according to inside sources, WWE is disappointed with NXT 2.0. Most of the blame seems to be attributed to the abruptness of the change. Because there's a while back, I didn't mention this before, but they sent out a bunch of surveys on NXT 2.0, just saying how much the fan base are enjoying it. Right. I got one of these things, and I let them know the truth. I cannot stand the show. My enthusiasm for the show has gone down the tubes. With the exception of one glowing bright spot, I feel like everyone else is just so disposable, and it's so blatant that's just more of the same stuff we've got from the main WWE show. It's just everything is so cookie cutter for the most part. It's infuriating.
There are only two things on NXT that I actually really care about. That is Braun Breaker, and that is Walter. And we've already seen we've already seen what they're doing with Walter. I'm not calling him Gunther, because all I'll do is I'm gonna even things up. Gunther, I was just talking to your daddy on the telephone. He's going to the ice cream store. He wants to take you with him. Hurry up and go home. Dennis the Menace.
I was gonna say I do not know that reference.
All I can think is Dennis the Menace, the little cross-eyed kid. That is, what you eating there, Spo? Apple.
Oh,
that's right.
Kid. Wow. Oh,
yes, that's right. I am comparing Walter to the little cross-eyed kid from Dennis the Menace, all because they changed his name to Gunther.
Hey, I'm not in much better of a situation, because whenever I hear Walter's name, I just cannot help but think of that one sketch from All That back in the day. You know the one.
Which one?
He's Walter, the ear boy. His ears are really big. And meanwhile, if I
thought I was obscure.
And meanwhile, if I ever said that in front of him, I would die. He would look at me and I would literally explode. I'd be dead.
Like I said, I thought I was obscure with the Gunther, but you just blew me out of the water with that Walter, who's ear boy. All that. Good for you.
I've got my moments. What can I say?
Oh, yes, it is. And my only question now is, since they dropped the trademark for Gunther Stark, which we're not even going to go into, because what more that needs to be said than what's been said and responded by everyone else? Now that they dropped that trademark, are they going to act just for make believe that the Gunther thing didn't happen and just make him still Walter?
I think they're just going, so they can actually own the name. I think they're just going to use Gunther. No Gunther, whatever. Just like
it just doesn't Walter, make it
Gunther.
It just doesn't make sense to drop the name after years of what he's been doing as Walter. I mean, he's the longest reigning top champion of any of the belts. NXT UK, Universal, WWE. He's the longest. What was it, 800 days?
Something like
that. A little more?
Yes.
A little more? Yeah. And he's already accomplished so much that, yeah, let's just go ahead and change his name. I guess it makes sense with what you said, just so they can own it.
Yeah, it's all about branding. That's the only thing that makes any degree of sense, because you're right. His name is banking on the Walter name.
In WWE. That's the mind-boggling part. That it's not like an independent thing that he just came in and changed his name. He's been in WWE for years now, and he's done so many accomplishments under that name. I just hope that it's not just a complete change of his character. As long as he's still acting like Walter, sure. He'll probably use the Walter name once he leaves WWE because it'll just be inevitable when he leaves. Because if you're looking at it,
I really hope so.
If WWE is just looking at him as just a Nazi, since that's what they were going for when they trademarked Gunther Stark, okay, then it's like, okay, typical. Get out of the goddamn 80s, early 90s. God, we don't need another foreign heel.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that is why the numbers are dropping with NXT. That's right. It's come back full circle. That's why the NXT viewership has dropped so much, because it really does look like they're mainly focusing on pushing Braun Breaker to be the next big name.
And honestly, that's why I can't get behind Braun Breaker. Like this, it's so transparent what they're doing. Like, yeah, Braun Breaker is good technically, but it's just a matter of time before he becomes the next undisputed top dog who eats all your favorites. Like second verse, same as the first.
But I'm not going to put that against him. That's the one thing. That's the same thing when it comes to these other wrestlers. I don't put it against them. It's just their booking.
It is absolutely a systemic issue. Yes.
I give it to Braun Breaker because he's good in the ring. He does put on good matches. That it's those things that work when you say, "Oh, he is good." I think that's works in his favor because it builds on him when he becomes a star. Hopefully, it'll just be Braun Steiner or something when he jumps up to the main roster, because Breaker's not gonna get him any place other than just the lower card, mid card if he's lucky. He would probably be closer to the Steiner name once he jumps up to the main roster. At least that's my guess. Work on that Steiner name. Hint at it in developmental. Flourish on it in on the main show where the audience actually is.
And that's part of the problem, I think, that I just have no confidence that they're going to use him in the proper way. Sure, they may, once he's on the main roster, they may even give him like title runs and stuff. But I'm not convinced they're going to show him off in the way that he deserves.
Because we have no confidence in them. Yes. At least Vince McMahon's views. And that one glimmer of hope of what Triple H's inevitable takeover, which is now out the window with Vince firing all his people at minus Shawn Michaels.
So I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Right now, in my eyes, there's only one good, worthwhile character on NXT 2.0. And that's sleepy Asian girl Wendy Chu. She is fantastic. I have absolutely no complaints with her whatsoever. She is picture perfect.
I'm gonna just sit back. You were wanting this last week before we actually ended up not recording. I'm just gonna let you obviously have this soapbox moment to talk about Wendy Chu, and I'm just, you know what? Go right ahead. I am getting my imaginary popcorn. I'm gonna listen to your praise of Wendy Chu. Because it's funny, because when I'm just like, oh, Wendy Chu, I wonder what, okay, he has Wendy Chu. And then it just took me like later to realize, I'm like, oh, she's talking about pajama wearing, sleep during matches, Wendy Chu. Okay, let's see where he has his mindset on this. So go right ahead.
I'll tell you what, I wasn't really going to make this like a soapbox thing or anything like that.
You made it the soapbox thing last week, so I am now giving you the soapbox, and have fun.
I beg to differ here. It's not really that big of a deal. Like, out of all the things and all the changes that have come about in NXT 2.0, there have been far too many missteps. People have been put in different roles. People I used to like. that are obviously just going to be on the chopping block in a matter of days. There's not really a whole bunch of original thought, anyone who they want to push. They're just really gearing up to just like make them the most indisputably dominant Cena or Reigns-esque hyper heel, hyper face, whatever term you want to use. It's just the WWE formula has never permeated every single show like it is right now. And there's just been nothing I can really hang my hat on and get really excited about and enjoy. It almost takes something completely out of left field, something like just something pure, something good, something that's just enjoyable. Because right now, I mean, let's be real. There's so many gimmicks that are being just attached for no good reason at all. Saray is apparently a magical anime girl now, and it's no, it makes me feel gross, and no, absolutely not. There is only one good thing here about this show. A gimmick that is so laughably dumb, so stupid, that it actually circles around the earth twice over and comes back around to being actually interesting again. Sleepy Asian girl, Wendy Chu. Because I don't know about you, but when someone wakes me up from a nap, I am pissed. And finally, this is like, it's
I know from
actually
experience
brilliant.
waking you up, you get pissed.
Yes, you do. We've been
I
on
have
enough road
experience
trips
with
and
it.
shit that this is actually real about me.
I
Wake me
had to
up. I am ready to kick ass.
I had to
And so
yell in
does
your
Wendy
window
Chu.
to wake you up once.
Yeah, and I was not happy about that.
No, you were not.
I was ready.
What?
Lay off me, I'm sleepy. And that's Wendy Chu. She's lay off me, I'm sleepy, the wrestler. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that this is NXT's version of trying to hack into the Orange Cassidy market.
Really?
Well, I would say that, but like I said, I know better. This is just...
You really trust WWE to make that a success?
No, which is
Exactly.
why this is a full-blown dyed-in-the-wool accident. Or Wendy Chu just pitched this idea to, and not thinking it would stick or would go anywhere, like, hey, why don't I just sleep a lot and just appear in the background, and then when it's time for me to wrestle, I just kick it into high gear. Someone was like, well, I'm not going to stop you, so go ahead and do it. Enjoy.
That's going to be a developmental only deal.
Honestly, I'm this is like the only bit of an enjoyment I actually get out of NXT now. I want to see how far sleepy Asian thick girl ends up going. I want her to
nothing
go
more than comedy skits. She's the new Elias when he was just the Wanderer.
And look how far he took that. He took it to the main roster. He had all these. He's in all these different segments.
And now he's gone. And now he's MIA.
So that leaves room for another crazy, wacky gimmick. And I believe Wendy Chu can be that person.
It would only go as far as the 24/7 championship. And the whole gimmick will be just people coming in and pinning her while she's sleeping.
Then she just rolls over and just wins it back because they won't be able to move her. Like, oh no, she's rolling over on top of me. 1, 2, 3. Oh no.
The person celebrating, she reaches over and just wraps him like it's a giant teddy bear, and they pin him there. Oh my God, that's so dumb.
You see the genius?
So WWE.
You see the genius of it?
Is it really genius though?
It is not. Genius. Wendy Chu is a genius.
Maybe for only having a developmental-esque character. Again, I don't see this going in.
She got a sleepy gimmick over on TV. Wendy Chu is a genius.
Is it over though?
No. When the Wendy Chu story is just beginning. Just wait for the latest made-for-TV movie miniseries coming to Lifetime summer 2023. Sleepy, the Wendy Chu story. It's
I
going to
think
happen.
I think you pitching this just shows how sleepy you are.
I am not sleepy in the slightest. I am more awake than I have ever been in life because why? We're talking about Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu is sleepy enough for all of us. That is the source of Wendy Chu's power. She absorbs the sleepy energy from everyone else around her. That's why everyone's so awake no matter what time of the night it is. They're always getting in the back. They're always cutting their promos, but not Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu is taking one for the team. She's resting up like a grizzly bear ready to strike.
You should be her manager with all the pumping you're going for, the promo you're just going off on.
That's why I'm so awake. Wendy Chu is absorbing
so she can sleep. So you can sleep. Energy. She can sleep for you.
Yes, I don't need to sleep. I don't need coffee. I only need to join the Chu crew. Puns.
You should tag her and tweet that. Part of your
Chu crew. She already tweeted it. That's why it's a thing. She's like, she's taking this to the bank. Wendy Chu is a genius.
We're just going to take this clip and we'll just post it. Part of the Chu crew. Scholar Jeff is part of the Chu crew.
Oh, see, again, you underestimate the power of Wendy Chu. She knows what she's doing. Every single little move is razor sharp, calculated to a T.
Well, congratulations, fool. You have me have a reason to watch NXT. I'm kidding. I'm not actually going to watch NXT. I'll just watch the highlights on YouTube.
You non-believer, you. It's okay.
I'll believe it. You know what?
I will forgive your transgression this one time.
Let's see if it's worth the hype that you're going with. I'll look into this.
Oh, yes, you will. I'm telling you, Wendy Chu is the savior of NXT 2.0. That's my early prediction. Wendy Chu will save us all.
Let's hope that the numbers will prove you right, which I kind of doubt because no one's watching NXT.
Tragedy, ain't it? But in all seriousness,
I still say that they should put it on YouTube and have it be there dark. I feel like it would do better there.
Maybe it would. But until then, those are our thoughts on this week in wrestling and the current state of affairs. Until we get to the Royal Rumble, now is the time where we pitch it over to you, our fellow fans. What do you think of NXT? What do you think of Bully Ray's comments? Do you have any more nuance other than Bully Ray is wrong and he deserves to be slapped in the face? Whatever it is, whatever you got, we want to hear from you. So drop us a line all across the internet, Facebook posts, YouTube comments, and our personal favorite, the Twitter machines. Follow us on Twitter at ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And you can also check us out and join the conversation on Twitter. Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me realizing that Moxley actually had a name drop on SmackDown tonight at the Avataric, which it's even better because it was Mox. Rollins said Mox.
That was cool. That was cool.
I liked it. I like that. The forbidden door is slightly opening, slightly.
There's always a chance for every dropped ball. There is a Wendy Chu, and we can talk about it all later on the Twitter machines. Start also with me at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation. It's always a good time. And remember, we got Royal Rumble coming up next week, but you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling. And you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Subscribe. See you all next week for Royal Rumble. And subscribe, please.
Subscribe, like, and subscribe.
True Crew lives.